Welcome back to the Thinking Crypto channel, your home for cryptocurrency news and interviews. Guys, the Commissioner Pierce of the SEC just give Ripple the ammunition or the reinforcement they needed for the fair notice defense. I want to share what Ripple's general counsel had to say. He tweeted out some very interesting quotes, and I think this is good news. Also, I want to talk about crypto regulations and the battle between congressional members. We have Elizabeth Warren now at odds with the likes of Senator Cynthia Lummis, and both are getting interviewed by mainstream media talking about this. Guys, we're in unprecedented times. I want to break this down, play some clips for you. This is very significant. In addition, we have 19 million Bitcoin officially mined. That means 2 million more to go, my friends. Historic times. And then all of a sudden, Goldman Sachs, a representative, comes out and this week and says, hey, we're offering crypto to our wealthy clients and doubling down on the service. And it just seems like all these big players now are in a competition to go after that remaining 2 million. Bullish times are ahead. I want to break it down for you guys. Before we get to it, please go ahead and hit the thumbs up button, leave a comment below, and hit the subscribe button if you're new here. It helps support the channel and it doesn't cost you anything. If you're listening on a podcast site, please give me a 5-star rating. Heads up, I uploaded my interview with Gareth Soloway, who's an expert trader on stocks and crypto. He gives his perspective on Bitcoin and altcoins and the bull market and bear market. Highly recommend watching it. I'll put a link in the description. Quick word from our sponsor, and that is iTrust which allows you to trade in a crypto IRA or a retirement account and save a lot on taxes. So huge tax benefits by trading within a retirement account. And they have a full mobile app, full support team, and they have 25 plus cryptocurrencies in addition to really great security. They use Coinbase custody, which is institutional grade cryptocurrency. So you don't have to worry about hacks and security and so forth. They're essentially using what the big institutional players use. Best of all, it is free to sign up with iTrust. There are no fees, there are no monthly fees or hidden fees or anything like that. And if you use my link in the description, you can get a $100 funding bonus. So be sure to check out iTrust. Link will be in the description. Now, if we look at the market here, not much happening. We're still waiting for Bitcoin to kind of start moving up again and let the alts follow it. Right now, Bitcoin is nearing $47,000. It's trying to flip that red candle that was forming as of yesterday to a green, and I hope it closes on a green on Sunday, right? We closed the green, a third consecutive a third consecutive week, can't speak all of a sudden, in the green, guys. That will be important to signal we are continuing that uptrend. Remember what I've been talking about? We're following a very similar pattern to what we saw in summer of 2021. We see two solid green candles formed for the past 2 weeks. We want a third and then a fourth and then a fifth. And I believe Bitcoin is headed to that retracement point of about 55 to 58K. You know, we'll see how long it takes to get there. None of this is guaranteed, or there are no certainties, but nevertheless, we've seen this pattern play out before and how the market cycles have played out. And then we see alts are starting to pop off, not the price points that many of us are expecting, but it's a process, right? Crawl, walk, run. It's going to be a step-by-step phase. Ethereum is back near $3,500. Solana pumping really hard right now. It's at $135. XRP at 83 cents. Cardano at $1.18. Terra Luna at $107. Avalanche at $98. So we're seeing green across the board, but once again, not the prices we're looking for, but we have to build support levels as we work our way up. So patience is the key here, my friends. And I will continue to update you based on how the market cycles are playing out. Now, let's jump into the news. Yesterday, we talked about Hester Pierce's reply and thoughts on the SEC bulletin. It was not crypto friendly, and many folks within the industry have been weighing in on this. But what Ripple's general counsel, Stuart Alderati, pulled out from that response is this quote: "The commission has refused, despite many pleas over many years, to provide regulatory guidance about how our rules apply to crypto assets. So some of the responsibility for the lack of legal and regulatory clarity lies at our doorstep." And Stuart put a fire emoji next to that. Now you may say, so what, Tony? What does this mean? Well, what is a big part of Ripple's defense? The fair notice. And you have a sitting, not a former, not a future, right? A sitting SEC commissioner saying this and publicly documenting it on the SEC website that we have not provided the clarity needed for the market. And remember, Ripple's trying to push for this defense. So the fact that they can totally use this, right? And this is a 180 from what Gensler's saying. Now, Gensler, before he joined the SEC, was saying there needs to be clarity, but of course he flipped his tune, and I think he's operating under his puppet masters, which is the banking cartel of Goldman Sachs, JP Morgan, and so forth. We've talked about that a lot. And I think this is important. A sitting commissioner coming out and saying this, Ripple could totally, their defense and their lawyers and so forth can totally use this. So very, very bullish news if, for the folks at Ripple and XRP holders. So I like this, guys. And Hester Pierce, I've interviewed her a couple times. I'm trying to get a third interview with her. So stay tuned for that. And she's, of course, been the really logical person there at the SEC who's looking at this, as innovation and how can we help foster innovation versus roadblocking and doing heavy-handed regulations. So really good news here, guys. And I think Stewart is not tweeting this out for fun. He clearly is pulling a significant statement from Hester Pierce. Now, let's talk about crypto regulations in Congress. So we have Meet the Press, which is part of CNBC and so forth. On one side, you have Senator Cynthia Lummis, who I've interviewed on the channel. She's a big-time Bitcoiner pushing for crypto regulations. Now, I know some of you may say, hey, she's been saying some statements that the SEC needs more power and so forth about securities. I think she's wrong with that. But at the same time, I do think she's on the side of crypto as a whole, right? She's not trying to say, hey, kill this project or kill that. She's not saying that. And I'm planning to do a follow-up interview with her, hopefully soon, to talk about the bill she's doing with Senator Gillibrand, and hopefully ask her, hey, look, the market is more than Bitcoin. We need to be careful. What are your thoughts and so forth? So just want to make sure I give that context. On the other side, you have Elizabeth Warren, who's spreading FUD, right? The Russia sanction thing. She's saying it's a bubble, blah, blah, blah. So let me play a clip here where Senator Cynthia Lummis is interviewed, and then also they talk to Elizabeth Warren.
One of the fears that you hear a lot right now is this idea is Bitcoin in particular, but perhaps Bitcoin, all of the coins that have been traded these days. Is this the credit default swap of this decade? Meaning the way the housing market, the derivative trading mechanism of taking these loans, putting them all in a package and doing it, which is not what Bitcoin is, but I can see why people want to compare it. If there is suddenly a collapse, that it could actually drag us into recession because of how big this industry is and how volatile it is. Do you accept that fear?
Well, yet another reason why Senator Gillibrand and I want to create this regulatory framework, because by giving the SEC additional regulatory authority and additional disclosure authority, requiring when these assets are bundled in ways that make them look like securities, subject to the Howey test, subject to the SEC's jurisdiction, there will be sufficient information available to assure against the kind of risks that we normally don't deal with until there's a crisis.
Do you think the digital space is...
He talks to Elizabeth Warren now.
...create a credit default swap-like impact on our economy if suddenly a whole bunch of holders of Bitcoin decided, maybe this is air.
Yeah.
Senator Warren says it's air. Maybe it is, I'm out.
And as soon as enough people start saying, I'm out, look, this has worked. The whole digital world has worked very much like a bubble works. And that is, it keeps going up based on what? Based on additional production? No, based on the fact that it has demonstrated that it solved all these other problems and it is now being used exponentially in areas where it had been used before. Not really.
So Senator Lummis, like I said, is pro-crypto. I think she's a little off with her stuff with the SEC trying to give them more power. That's not what we want, right? Because right now, clearly, they don't know what they're doing. Now, I give her the benefit of the doubt. I know she's working on a lot of things that are pro-crypto. Now, Elizabeth Warren, she absolutely doesn't understand. She's spreading FUD, a lot of lies and so forth. We've seen this. Remember when she was speaking to the folks at Chainalysis before the other members of Congress, and they were telling her facts like, hey, there's not enough liquidity for Russia to try to use Bitcoin to bypass sanctions. And she was like trying to cut him off, not letting him make his statements, ignoring the facts. She has an agenda and she's buddies with Gary Gensler. So that tells you what's happening here. But nevertheless, guys, look at the conversation that's happening. This makes me bullish. Even Elizabeth Warren and her bullshit, right? It makes me bullish, guys, because we are at new heights that we've never seen before with this crypto asset class. And the great thing is Elizabeth Warren is outnumbered. The Biden crypto executive order was a defeat, was a defeat to her because of what she was trying to push. In addition, you have more members of Congress who are pro-crypto coming on board. So she's outnumbered at this point. And remember my interview with Congressman Byron Donalds, from just, I think it was last week. Let me pull it up here for you guys. 10 days ago. Yeah. So he and a bipartisan group, along with Tom Emmer, or led by Tom Emmer, sent a letter to Gary Gensler and the SEC. And once again, this is a mixture of Republicans and Democrats to fix crypto reporting. So I think we are seeing things moving in the right direction. I think Elizabeth Warren will continue to look like a clown because she's clearly not educated about certain things, or she's being disingenuous. So guys, this makes me so bullish. It makes me so bullish to see mainstream media is now talking about crypto regulations. We've come a far way. And you may say, well, Tony, what about if they do something bad? They're not going to do anything bad because you know why? The likes of Goldman Sachs and all these big time billionaire hedge funds are here who have taken a position. So now it's just to iron out the kinks and you know, get things in, get all the ducks in a row for regulations, and we're going to see new all-time highs. And here's an example: Goldman Sachs to offer crypto services for private wealthy clients. We've talked about this since what they made the announcement they were going to do this. Well, we had somebody double down from Goldman Sachs confirming this. The global digital assets head, Mary Reich, said the bank is envisioning to provide investment opportunities in the digital asset segment by the quarter. She said they are working closely with the teams across the firm to explore different ways to offer thoughtful and appropriate access to the ecosystem for wealthy private clients. She also added that it is something they are expecting to offer in the near term. Most likely, you're going to see it in sometime this month or next month. So, you know, they are also, guys. Here's also one of the big news from today. That is the 19th million Bitcoin has been mined, only 2 million to go. And the article talks about this, that all of these big players now, it's a competition, it's a land grab to grab as much of that 2 million remaining. That's why we're seeing oil companies are going to start mining, Exxon Mobil and many more, right? And mining's booming in the United States. A lot of big players are backing miners now. So whether people like Bitcoin or not, this is what's happening. This is what institutions are doing. This is what smart money is doing. So it doesn't matter what people on YouTube or Twitter are saying, oh, Bitcoin sucks. Bitcoin's Model T forward. You can say that, but the facts are it's getting investments and adoption. Unless that changes, then you maybe have a point, but it's getting adoption. So I'm going to follow what the smart money is doing and put my stakes in there respectfully. Because I hold Bitcoin in my portfolio, and I've said it many times, the market moves with Bitcoin. We've seen the capital flow from Bitcoin into altcoins. So the better Bitcoin does, the more capital flows into altcoins, the higher prices we will see. Those who actually study data and analytics and trends know this. So this is very bullish news, guys. And here's just a timeline that Blockworks put together. In 2017, they said Bitcoin is a vehicle for fraudsters. In 2018, Bitcoin is never coming back. This is when the market started crashing. 2020, Bitcoin is not a real asset. 2021, Bitcoin to be offered to clients. 2022, Bitcoin could hit $100,000 and they're going to, obviously offer it to the wealthy clients. This is the smoke and mirrors move that moves that have been played by JP Morgan, Jamie Dimon, all these guys. And this is what they've done with other asset classes. They'll put out a narrative in the public. The average Joe who doesn't spend time to research listens to this, listens to Jim Cramer, follows that advice, gets wrecked, right? The big players take their position. By the time a lot of the masses go to take their position, they enter the top of the market. But that's not the time that's the dumb money crowd, right? And you want to be buying the lows at the same time the smart money's buying it, guys. So just FYI as to how the game is played. Now, speaking of Bitcoin mining, Bitcoin miners generated $1.21 billion in revenue in March 2022. This is why all these big players are now looking to grab as much of the Bitcoin, the remaining 2 million Bitcoin to be mined, guys. Lots of money to be made here. And, Bitcoin, of course, a store of value, digital gold, and it's here to stay. And obviously the market's bigger than Bitcoin. There's altcoins that do different things, different use cases. So we shall see how things progress for the rest of the year. Obviously, like I said, I'm waiting for that retracement. I'll be taking some profits at the 55, 58K for Bitcoin. And then, of course, looking for alts to pop off and take profits there as well. And I won't be gone after I take my profits. I could, theoretically, based on how much money I cash out, but I'm also going to be stacking, DCAing for future bull runs because we're still very early. All right, guys, let me know what you think about this news. Leave your thoughts and comments below. Hit the thumbs up button, and I'll talk to you all later.